Hello, Intactivists. Today, I would like to put you guys all in a thought experiment, and I just want to know what you guys are going to answer. And after, feel free to let me know what you answered down in the comments. But yeah, so this is very short, I promise you. All right, so this is a PowerPoint. So which would you guys pick? You guys have choice A, getting $500,000 with certainty. Choice B is getting $1 million, 20% chance, or walking away with $0, 80% chance. Also, guys, I'm going to relate this back to Intactivism. Promise you. So, what are you guys picking? All right, great. Keep that in your heads of what you guys picked. Now, which would you pick now? You can have a 100% chance of losing $250,000. So you're going to go ahead and lose $250,000 with certainty, definitely going to happen. Or choice D, you have an 80% chance of losing $1 million, but there's 20% chance you're not going to lose anything. Which would you guys pick in this scenario? All right. So most likely, I feel like you guys picked A and C. I think that's probably what most people would pick. They like certainty. They don't like taking chances. And let me explain that if you did pick A and C, you have $250,000 in winnings, right? If you picked B and D, that was the 80% chance of not having any money or 20% winning $1 million. And D, which was 80% chance of losing $1 million and 20% you losing nothing. So if you picked B and D, your chances of winning $1 million is 4%. Your chances of walking away with nothing, you won $1 million, then you lost it at D, that is 32% chance. It's a little lower because you have to get B first and then lose on D. So it's 32%. But 64% chance of you losing $1 million. Now, granted, if you took A and C, you're probably happy, right? Like, oh, I just won $250,000. Let's go. And yeah, and you should be. I mean, if you knew the person who won $1 million, would you be jealous? Sure. Absolutely. Now, let me explain how this relates to Intactivism really quickly. Now, I want you to keep in mind, you lost $1 million, quote unquote, when you were born because your parents invested your money into a medical snake oil scheme, and at 18, you want to withdraw your $1 million, and it's gone. So, you see how that relates? It relates to foreskin. So, restoration is the walking out with $250,000. Now, I figured out the $500,000 based off of 2 adults who were circumcised as adults, and then they restored. I got 15% the same, and then 80% the same. Now, if you take that, divide that by 2, that's 47.5%. I rounded it to 50%. Okay, so that's how I got $500,000. So, yes, you're going to probably get about 47-ish, 50% of your sensations back, and that's awesome. Now, granted, I only got 2 people. It's really hard to go ahead and ask people and figure these out. I really wish that the foreskin restoration subreddit would do more polls and figure out more adults who were circumcised and then restored, and then we could have like a whole paper on it. But the best I got is 50% roughly. Now, how are you going to lose $250,000? Well, of course, you're going to go and do time through tugging, the money it's going to cost, and the mental cost, because yes, it does take your mental energy to go ahead and restore. So you're still net winning, but yes, you are going to have to go through that mental anguish, hitting that wall, right? Foregen, on the other hand, that's if you pick B and D. So B would be passing human trials and going public. Now, that's not the only problem, because once they go public and pass human trials, you have to then get selected. So the chances of you getting Foregen in this scenario is 4% of getting $1 million or getting your entire foreskin back. And that is very low, as you can see. Now, how could you lose another $1 million? Because like I said, hey, back here, 64% chance of you losing another $1 million. Well, spending money on Foregen via donating, missing out on this great thing called life, holding off relationships to save money for a surgery that may not even happen for you or exist. I'll also discuss the true cost of getting Foregen because it's a lot more than just $10,000. I'll do that in a future video. All the Intactivism you could have done or activities you could have partaken, but you took double shifts at work, you didn't do too much trying to save money, or you just spent your time being depressed, drinking, talking with other people, and hoping that one day you may be whole again while being bitter at the government saying that they owe me Foregen. There is a whole world of amazing people out there, and you can find them, and you can go ahead and talk to the public. But I'm sure a lot of people here do not like the public. I'm sure you guys are very angry at them. At least some Intactivists definitely are. And, you know, you could always find something you enjoy. And I'm not saying, once again, everyone is like this. I'm just saying it's easy to get sucked into the Foregen rabbit hole of promises, and you get obsessed with it. And I know a lot of people who have been there. But the odds of you, the viewer, who are watching this right now on this YouTube channel, the chances of you getting Foregen is so minuscule, it's hard for me to conceptualize your chances. So this is just a thought experiment. All right, like I made up the whole 20% stuff. So don't get mad at me whenever you're like, oh, but it's less or more. I get that. Totally get that. It's just, if you were going to go ahead and make this into a money problem or a math problem, most people would not be picking Foregen. I just kind of set this up to demonstrate the thinking of some Intactivists, and I bet you most Intactivists don't even think that they're thinking like this, but this is the way they are thinking. Now, keep in mind, if you choose A and C in this thought experiment, if you chose up here A and C, I would strongly consider restoring versus waiting for Foregen and hoping you get picked by them, but the choice is up to you guys. This isn't medical or financial advice, whatever. And also, you can always restore and donate to Foregen at the same time. Nothing is stopping you from doing that. I mean, unless you just don't have the money to do so. Also, restoration is kind of a weird topic when it comes to Foregen. So I'm going to go and play you a quick clip. Here we go. I'm going to play this a little quicker than normal.
I'm pretty sure I've asked this question before, and probably other people have as well, but it keeps asking me, like, hey, how are you sure that Foregen's procedure will work if we're already restored? And I keep saying, I don't see any reason why it wouldn't. All you'd have to do is remove the restored one and replace it with a regenerated one. I'm just asking, you know, am I crazy here? Is there any reason why the procedure would not work on a restored man?
Oh, I think that there are good possibilities that it works. So like you say, you know, why it shouldn't work? You know, we are not, we have more skin, and should be for sure easier to transplant the foreskin inside this extra tissue that you have already restored. This is my personal opinion.
Okay, so you guys see no reason as to why it wouldn't work, right?
Yeah, so I was going to say, based on the information we currently have and everything, keep doing what you're doing. I don't see any reason surgically why you wouldn't be able to continue. As Enzo said, the technique we're looking at now, it looks like, essentially what Enzo said, like there's no reason to be removing that skin that you've regenerated. We could use that for the procedure to help.
Would you guys most likely just be removing the restored skin and replacing it with the regenerated one?
I don't think so. I think it would be attached to the restored skin. That's actually something we could directly talk to the surgeons about, especially as we go into round 2 of the cadaver phase. And do you have more to add to that, or?
Yeah, let's say, you know, when somebody was asking me this question in the past, I wasn't, you know, I'm always the president of a company here, so I'm always, and also I have a different mentality, and I don't want to say something that then can give bad suggestions to people or disappointments. We didn't know enough about this foreskin restoration. We know that it shouldn't jeopardize the regeneration, and we know also. I've spoken with some scientists that tell that it shouldn't be a problem. This is the answer that I feel to tell you now. Because you know, it's extra tissue that we are going to utilize anyway.
All right, so as you heard Foregen right there, you restoring is not going to hurt your chances of getting Foregen at all. So there's no reason for you not to go ahead and restore through tugging or whatever. It's interesting, though, that there are a lot of people that are just waiting for Foregen, and they have this feeling that, oh, if I start restoring, it's going to mess Foregen up. And it might. It might mess up Foregen. I don't know. But William and Enzo said in there that it's not. So there's, once again, you can go ahead and restore and do Foregen at the same time. I actually cannot even think of a single reason to not restore. And I don't know. I mean, unless your issue is mental, like you just mentally can't do it, or it physically hurts too much, which it shouldn't physically hurt. So I don't know. Can you guys come up with any reasons why you shouldn't restore? I mean, I'm not a medical person, so I mean, if you want a foreskin, why not restore? So I think if you think of restoring as an investment and you want your foreskin back, restore. It will get about 50% of what it was. Once again, that's only off 2 adults. Hopefully, foreskin restoration subreddit can go and add more details in the bottom of this video. I actually know 3 people personally that are not getting restoration or doing any restoration because they want to wait for Foregen. So I do know that this is definitely a thing going on in the Intactivist community where people are just gonna do Foregen or nothing at all. And it's definitely an all or none mentality. And I don't really understand why, because I feel like if you're going to trust Foregen with this surgery, you should also trust them when they say, hey, if you restore, it's going to help us out. So it's weird because Foregen just said, hey, like if you restore, it's going to give us extra skin to work with. But then again, the people are like, oh, well, I don't want to mess with anything because it's going to be perfectly the way it was. Even though Foregen is kind of telling me, hey, I should go ahead and restore. I don't know. And I don't want to ramble too much. So guys, thank you for watching.